Hey guys, welcome to CEO Chats. Today I have a very, very special guest, Michael from Savant Studios, owner of Savant Studios, Brooklyn owned storefront, by the way, store, luxury clothing brands. It is amazing, guys. This is the one that the Black is Beautiful hat. That has been featured on Vogue magazine, featured on Vanity Fair, Black businesses in Brooklyn. This is the guy whose clothing has literally made me feel like an absolute queen. That statuesque picture of a beautiful Black man and wearing it around, and I make sure to wear it on the right side so other people know how I feel. I know what I represent. And this is someone that I admire so much as an entrepreneur because he cares about the customer on the other end, and he provides high quality for something that is worth so much more than what he's selling it for, guys. So I want to let you know that I bought his product before I interviewed him. I made sure that, this was someone that I could introduce to my community that I'm proud to be here with. So Michael, hi, how are you doing?
I love that. That just made me feel really good.
Of course, I have so much more to say. Like, Zendaya was wearing your stuff, Shaka King, bro. Like, and I watched, like, you haven't even been in business for that long, like to receive like those high accolades. Like, it really is the quality of your brand and everything that you bring and the love. So I just have to know, like, what led you down this?
Story has gotten me here. Before anything else, I'm a storyteller and I appreciate stories. And so, I travel a lot. I talk to a lot of people. I read a lot. I'm into film, all of these different things. And so, all of the ideas and designs that I put out are kind of a culmination of all of these experiences. So I'm just trying to tell stories, the things that I've experienced, and just but
when you say stories, you're telling Black stories, right?
So what's interesting is like for me, I just tell stories, right? If somebody wants to call them Black stories, that's because I've been Black. I didn't just become Black last year. Some people just became Black last year. I've been Black for a long time, and the things that I create are for the world, They're not for Black people, they're for everybody. And I'm going to celebrate Blackness. I'm going to celebrate the culture that I'm a part of. But I'm not going to exclude anybody, right? Because I want other people to understand why we're celebrating. So there's a little bit, that's a deeper dive.
There's layers, yeah. But I want to take ownership of you, dude, because like I just love your stuff so much. So I'm like, oh, it's for us. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I felt when I put it on. So that's
absolutely, it is for us. But look at that. Like, remember FUBU, for us, by us?
Mm-hmm.
Love that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we loved it. Right? The thing about it is, and there's a reason that we loved it, because it was dope.
Yeah.
FUBU was dope, at that point. But only we loved it because we said, for us, by us. We have a universal appeal. Look at our music. If we said our music is just for us, it would exclude some people, right? But all of our artists who are Blacks, right? Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, whoever, right? Whoever these artists are, they are eating the way that they're eating, not just from our dollars, from everybody's dollars, because they're universal artists, right?
Right.
Didn't exclude anybody. And so you got every single type of person from every walk of life and every culture at these events, buying albums, buying merch, doing this stuff, and elevating and bringing these stories and these points of views to the forefront. And that's what we want to do. I want to touch the world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm from the projects in Brooklyn, and I want to take my projects with me to the very top. And I'm not going to do that by just going from project to project.
How did somebody from the projects from Brooklyn think that you could even, what was it? I'm trying to pick at it now. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question. It's like, it's God, it's my mother, it's Brooklyn, it's imagination, it's resilience. It's like, wait a minute, if I can make it through this, I got what it takes to do just about anything. You know? And that's the secret sauce. That's the blessing that's in disguise, that's been disguised, right? Like, you got somebody like Jay-Z who can become America, who can become corporate America's darling, you know. Mm-hmm. Any corporation with a mind would love to be in cahoots with Sean Carter, right?
Right.
He's from the projects across from my projects. He's from Marcy. Right? We were in Tompkins. This guy did all of this because he was conditioned in the thickest environment, you know, that this country has to offer. Like, yeah.
I feel like there's a part of you that had to love yourself before you could transform into this person. Like, for me, like, I found that there were moments that I didn't love myself, you know, whether it due to external, internal, what was happening around me, parental, like whatever. And like, I had to make a transformation in order to step into that next person, in order to even believe that I could do it. You know, I feel like I was looking at myself through the perception of others and what others thought I was capable of, which like hindered my growth. So are there people around you that strengthen you, or is there like a critical moment that you had in your life that transformed, you know, what you thought was what you thought you were capable of?
You know what? I kind of operate by this ethos called slow magic, right? And slow magic is kind of, it can mean several things, but it's kind of like, instead of living for miracles and miracle to miracle, you can just live a miraculous lifestyle, right? That's a little bit different than going from event to event. It's like, we're just going to have a lifestyle of this, right? And so when I look back, because I do, and have looked back a lot to see what was the key points of change for me, kind of a slow magic. It was not like some big things that happened. It was more like simple things on a daily basis of my mom just like supporting my little hobbies, you know, and people saying things about me that caused me to understand that what I thought about myself wasn't as far-fetched as some folks might have me believe. You know? But you know what? Because people would say, "Oh, this guy's going to do something one day," or things like that. But you know, when I look back, there was this one moment that really did something for me. I was in I went to a Gap, right? This was it was over by St. Mark's, over in the East Village. So I'm with a couple of friends, and we're at the Gap. And I go in, and I'm not buying anything from the Gap. I wasn't interested in having something from the Gap, but I'm waiting for my friends because they're shopping. So I'm standing there, and I see a pair of socks. So I get the socks. I had some cash in my hand. So I had a $20 bill in my hand. I pick up a pair of socks that cost like $6, and I stand in front of a mirror and put them by my foot to see if it, like, how it looked. as I did that, I get this, these big hands grab me from behind and pull me out of the store.
What?
Yeah, it was a security guard. And he said, don't ever come back in here trying to steal again. And I'm like, what?
Excuse me?
What are you talking about? Like,
right.
I wasn't trying to steal nothing. I had $20. And it was that day that I said, because there was as Black people, sometimes we overcompensate for other people, for other people's comfort, right? Like I was used to, I knew what it was to walk into a store, and try to be bigger and have my hands out and talk clear, and so that people didn't think I was stealing.
Yeah.
Even though I've never stole anything.
Right.
Right. And I remember that day after the Gap, I said, I will never in my life, ever again, not one time, bend myself to appease anybody because of what they think about me. I know me. And I stand in that. I've never stolen anything from anybody. So I don't need to worry about what their perception of me is. I'm going to walk into every space that I walk into with my head up, just happy to be me, knowing what I am, not worrying what this person or that person thinks I might be. Because depending on which space you walk into, there's going to be different perceptions.
Absolutely. So you're preaching to me right now, Michael, because I feel as a Black female, it's the perception of looks, the perception of like how to not be angry, like I have to tone down to not make other people uncomfortable, even when they're upsetting me. So it's like for you to be able to grasp onto that. How old were you? At what age?
17.
17, and I'm 26 and I'm still trying to navigate that and like, take up space and be unapologetic and all of these important things that you really need as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, especially in real estate, especially in the construction business. There's so much like lack of respect that's happening in my industry for women. So for you to say, you're like, once I did that is like amazing to me, like truly amazing. And it was that bad experience that led you to a positive way of living life. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. It was literally, I was standing on the corner, kind of like heated by the dude. And I thought, you know what? This man doesn't know me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he even wants to know me. And that's none of my concern. I know me. And I will never, ever, ever walk into any place and try to bend or bow to this thing or tone down. Yeah. No, you're going to get me just as I am. And if you don't like me, I don't belong here. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Do you see that? It's in your art. It's in your art. Like everything that you're saying, I don't bow down. I stand tall. That's exactly how I felt when I was wearing, the Black Moses shirt. I'm like, I had never seen no Black Moses shirt. You know what I'm saying? When I'm wearing the hat and everything, like I posted so many pictures. I felt so good. Like what you're saying, I see it reflected. So I see the timeline of like that moment and like how that impacted you. I'll never bow down to anyone. I'm a king. Like I am who I am. I love myself. And then now that you're projecting that in your clothing and allowing other people to feel that same energy, that same power, my mind is blown. My mind is blown, dude. Like,
love that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have to get to the next question because I could talk to you all day, but I know I've gone through a lot of barriers and hurdles in my industry. So I know that you have too. So from your store opening, from the pandemic happening, from everything going on with the George Floyd situation, I know you hold events in your space.
Mhm.
But tell me about that year. Tell me about how you overcame. Tell me about what happened with you and your business.
I'm a strong proponent. I like to keep the same energy, right? And so the energy that we had last year was the energy that I had 7 years ago. And I care about people. I care about my community. And we stayed doing that. And yes, we did close the shop for some months in the middle of pandemic, and just kind of took a rest and a breather and things like that. We opened back up right after, right in the heat of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of this sort of temperature going on. Right? I had taken a group of guys since we were closed and since there wasn't a lot happening. I took a few guys on a road trip, and we went to the eye of the storm. We went to Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow.
The night, and we didn't know this wasn't planned, but we moved in the night that the protests started, right?
Wow. You were there.
Yeah. And so we got to see some things and talk to some people and experience some stuff. And so but it was like a lot. Like it was West Virginia. We stopped in West Virginia and Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. So we got to talk to a bunch of different types of people, right? That led me to, when we got back to New York, I said, we're opening up. I don't protest. I'm not going to be out on the street protesting. That's not my flavor. But I love the people who are out there, right? And so we opened the shop at night for refreshments and just a place where people can come, get a little bite, take a breather, cry, laugh, hug whatever they needed to do. So we were doing that at night, and it was beautiful. And the conversations that were being had and everything was strong. And from that, because it is a shop, people were like, hey, can I get that hoodie? I'm like, don't worry about no hoodies. We not on that right now. We just doing this. Like, making $1 was the last thing that I was concerned with last summer. But people wanted things because some of those things made people feel a way, right? So I want this hoodie because it makes me feel like this. I need to wear this Nina t-shirt because I'm actually going out and I'm gonna be on the front lines and I want to, and I'm like, okay. So from that, we just opened back up. Even though technically we weren't allowed, or I guess, I don't really play by those rules. So we just opened back up and we saw an increase in business unlike anything that we had experienced.
What?
Nuts.
What?
Let's say nuts. I mean, nuts. That building.
God, right there.
100%.
Right.
And it was like the community, I had different people that I knew, who had shops, brands, big brands making, who are way bigger than us. And they were like, yo, how is this happening? What's the formula? What's the, because we look for strategy to come back and do this. And I said, there isn't, bro, this is real.
What's the sauce? Like, that's not what I know.
Go listen to a Gucci Mane interview. Remember when he was talking about the sauce? You got to be born with the sauce. They said, can you acquire this? No, you can't acquire the sauce, Anyway, that was our experience last year, and it was beautiful. Wow. The community and the people really was with us, and we were really with our people, and that was it. That's how it went.
I'm so happy for you because it's so deserving. I want, owners like this in Brooklyn to stay in Brooklyn. You're saying you were a shop that opened up to serve refreshments. I'm sure there's not a lot of shops that did that, and you were talking to community members and you were probably doing a lot of healing, whether you intended to or not. And people came back, in droves, and that's divine within itself. And you're on your path, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you're doing it with passion and love. And that's why I admire you so much, because I've just like you said, a lot of people started getting into their Blackness last year. I just started cracking into that, so I'm not ashamed to say that it wasn't on my forefront, but it was an awakening that happened. You know what I'm saying? Slapped me into shape. Like, don't forget. So,
yeah.
So that's like what's happening with me this year. But I want to know, where do you see yourself and your brand in 5 years from now?
We're expanding, and I want to kind of duplicate this, not as a franchise, but this energy and this special thing that we do, the vibe and everything. We want to do that in different cities around the world. Yeah. And so
I see you in Paris. I see you in London. I see you South Africa, Cape Town, everywhere.
Yeah, say that.
Yes, wow, that's amazing. When your perception of what you can be, you can be it. You know what I'm saying? And then when I interviewed you, I'm thinking, we're talking Brooklyn, but we're talking international, which is inspiring me so much. So.
Absolutely. There's no point, especially now, like, what's local anymore? Everything is open. Everything is global. Either nothing is local or everything is local, because now we're just citizens of the world. People don't even have to travel to have access to the world. It's kind of crazy, but I like to travel. I think it's important to go be with people and go be in these places and learn about the history and culture. And so I like to take Brooklyn to the world and bring the world back to Brooklyn. That's what I like to do.
And people are going to love it. And in 10 years, people are going to be looking at this interview. You gave me space, you gave me time, and I see what you're doing and I respect it. And I thank you so much for coming on. And I have just one last question, because my kids and my phone will kill me if I don't ask you, like, what advice would you give them if they're trying to follow in your footsteps? Obviously, no one can do it like you, but people are seeing you do it and they might want to do it too. So what would be your advice?
Build a strong team. That's the key.
That part. I'm going to end it right there, because that was amazing and perfect and everything that I needed to be. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. I absolutely needed this conversation for myself. So I know that this conversation is going to be what it needs to be for someone else. So I just want to say thank you. And I definitely want to see you in person and meet you and, go to the shop and come to one of your events. When's your next event, by the way?
We're doing something this week. It's just going to be a Memorial Day thing, but we have a big event coming in the second week of June. I'll send all of the information and stuff like that. But
okay, second week of June, a big event coming to your shop. So I need you guys to follow him on Instagram. I need you guys to subscribe to all his newsletters, get all of his information, and keep up with the vibe. Because if this is you, you know what I'm saying? If you appreciate people like this and you appreciate art like this and clothes, and literally, like, you're really selling high quality stuff for what we could afford. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for coming on. And I hope you have an amazing day. Of course.